Okay guys, so we are doing Unit 4, Day 3, Congruent Figures Part A. We'll finish this on Monday, so really it's just pretty much like a little bit of an intro. So if you look at the cars in the pictures, you should notice that they're about the same, right? That's just a car that's being translated. This is a car that's just being rotated. So in geometry, when we talk about corresponding parts and congruent figures, all the quote-unquote corresponding parts of the car have not changed. Like a tire in here is still a tire over here. The spoiler on the back here is still the spoiler on the back there. So all the corresponding parts do not change. So when you're looking at congruent figures, if you're looking at two things here like ABC and GEO, all the corresponding parts have to be the same. So if I want these two triangles to be congruent, angle A here goes with angle G here. So angle A and angle G are going to be congruent. So I'd put like a little arc saying they're congruent. AB, this side, is going to go with GE this side. Now it's really important that you do these in order. So if A is with G, that means AB's got to be with GE. Angle B is going to be the same as angle E. So I'd put like two little arcs. Here I'd put a dash, here I'd put a dash. BC is going to be the same as side EO. So I put like two dashes, two dashes. Angle C will be with angle O. So I put like three arcs, three arcs. And then CA is going to be with OG. So I put three dashes, three dashes. So the arcs always go with the angles, the dashes always go with the sides. So I can write that these two triangles are congruent 6 different ways. So the first way I wrote out for you, ABC goes with GEO, because A's with G, B's with E, C's with O. I can switch that up. I could do triangle ACB is congruent to triangle, now it's got to go in order, GOE. I could say triangle, let's start with B. BAC would go with triangle EGO. I could say triangle BCA goes with triangle EOG. So I started with A twice, I started with B twice, now I can start with C. CAB would be congruent to triangle OGE, and then triangle CBA would be congruent to triangle OEG. So there's 6 ways to write this. I won't ever really ask you to always do all 6. Your homework tonight, you do have to do all 6. There are always 6 ways to write it. So make sure you do all 6 on the homework tonight. But most of the time I just want you to do 1. But order here will matter. Okay, so you got to make sure all the angles and all the sides are congruent to each other. So like on the next page, we're going to do a reflection. So if I go ahead and plot ABCD, and that's a square, and then we're going to reflect it. So A is at -5, 1. B is at -5, 5. That's all the way up here. C's at -1, 5. And D's at -1, 1. So we have a square here. We're going to reflect this over the y-axis. So ABCD. So I'm going to reflect this over the y-axis. So I'm going to draw it over here. And we're going to use MOTH. So A goes to point M. So if I reflect it over the y-axis, I go from -5, 1 to +5, 1. That's where M's going to be. B is at -5, 5. It's now going to be at -5, +5, +5. C will be reflected to 1, 5, and that's going to be T. And D is going to be reflected to point H, which will be at 1, 1. So now you have a square like this. Okay? So list all the corresponding sides and all the corresponding angles. So we're going to have to list 4 angles, 4 sides. Okay? So angle A, I like to list the angles first. Angle A is congruent to angle M. Angle B is congruent to angle O. Angle C is congruent to angle T. And angle D is congruent to angle H. Those are easy because it's really just listed here. Now we got to do the sides. So AB will be congruent to, now go in order, MO. BC will be congruent to OT. CD will be congruent to TH. And then DA will be congruent to HM. Okay? So if it says list the corresponding sides, corresponding angles, you're going to give me 8 things or 6 things if it's a triangle. Now I'm just going to do the congruent statement. So most of the time we do them in alphabetical order. So A, B, C, D is going to be congruent to M, O, T, H. Okay? And that's really all you're going to do. We're going to skip the rotation. Sorry, that's the 2-minute bell. So this is what you just need to remember. All 3 transformations that we learned in Chapter 2, remember rotations, reflections, translations, those were all rigid transformations. They do not change the size and shape. The transformations are types of, again, those are the rigid transformations that we talked about. And then in order for 2 figures to be congruent, all their corresponding parts must be congruent. Okay? So for your homework, you're going to do a worksheet. Now let me explain one thing on the worksheet before it gets passed out. So for number 1, it says identify all pairs of congruent corresponding angles and corresponding sides. So you're going to give me 6 things. 3 sets of angles, 3 sets of sides, kind of like what we did here. The rest of it, you need to give me 6 statements, congruent statements. So all of number 2, you're going to do like this problem. So all of number 2, A, B, C, D, E, F, you're going to do like this. Okay, where you have 6. And then 3 is similar to doing the reflection. Name all the corresponding parts. So 1 and 3 are the same. 2, make sure you do all 6 of these. Okay?